Hello everybody and welcome back to another vintage versus classified comparison video. I totally forgot I had Shockwave in vintage form and that we had Shockwave in the classified already. Not that it's a bad figure and I forgot about it, it's just, I don't know, just slipped my mind. So here we are comparing the two. And I think Shockwave here is a bit of a controversial one. A lot of updates, a lot of things people didn't like. So we'll get into those minor complaints I saw throughout its release. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I have all the accessories for our vintage counterpart, but I do have his big old knife in his backpack. I believe I'm missing his sort of Uzi weapon, and I think that was all he had. There might be something else, but I can't remember from the top of my head. So yeah, backpack piece is the number one complaint I think for the classified Shockwave. Instead of a backpack piece, we got a sort of geez, what's the name of these things? I'll just call it a police stick or SWAT stick. But yeah, used for hitting people and whatnot. And then we had a riot shield, which looks fantastic. Great detail, little decals and whatnot. Sort of lights here at the front. And then he can grip it with his right hand. It is intended for his right hand. So it just goes on there. And then he holds it and whatnot. So it's a nice accessory. And I think it makes sense for someone who's in the SWAT or is a member of a like sort of SWAT team. I think that made sense, but I think that made the G.I.Joe team sacrifice the backpack piece, which is a bit unfortunate. Now, maybe if they intend on releasing him again through a retro carded fashion, I hope we can see his backpack piece in all its glory with the knife included, you know, sheaths in here on the side, but it would be nice to see that in the future, potentially. Another thing you'll notice right away is the patterning on this guy is different compared to the classified, where this one is more sort of lines or L's throughout. As you can see, this is more like sort of a pixelated, sort of blocky pattern with the yellow, like small yellows and whatnot, which it looks great. I think we did great with the camo here on the classified, but yeah, it's not a one-to-one in terms of pattern, because yeah, the vintage one has a different one compared to the classified one, and I like them both. And yeah, that's why I'm mentioning a potential retro card in the future, for it to have a classified one to have the backpack piece and the appropriate pattern that we see on the vintage one here. Just my thoughts and ideas. Hopefully we get to see it in the future. But with that being said, yeah, those were some of the things that really annoyed classified collectors, was the lack of a backpack piece. They changed the pattern, and even the head sculpt here, which we'll get to at some later on here in a bit. But with accessories, yeah, like I mentioned, he has an Uzi, backpack piece, a knife, and I believe he might have had something else, but I can't remember. With the classified, we had two akimbo, dual wielding sort of Uzis, tiny Uzis. I don't know what these are called. I forget the name of them. Two knives, one here at the leg with the cool sort of knife design there to pry open doors, which I think was a nice attention to detail. You know, he is a SWAT member, so he's going to be breaking down doors, so it's a handy tool to have. And then he has his other knife here on the chest, which we'll get to here in a minute. But they reused the beachheads, the Cobra Island beachhead legs, which I'm not a big fan of. You know, big chunky boots, or you know, armor guards here at the shins, or is that the shins? I don't know my anatomy. But yeah, big, you know, boots here. I'm not a big fan of them. You have the knee pads, which we don't have here on the vintage. You have your akimbo pistols here with the vintage. You can see here They were meant to be pistols, but you know, Classified said, now let's make them SMGs, which I'm fine with. Nice little update there. Then we have pouches here on the belt going around. And I don't think with the vintage one we got that many pouches. We have some pouches here. My camera doesn't want to focus, but we do have some pouches here, and that's it. Not much else going around. So they updated his belt a bit. Here's where the knife is kind of identical. As you can see, the handle here has that sort of curve or tip sticking out. We can also see that with the vintage one here, you have that handle sort of tip sort of angling out, which is a nice little attention to detail. Classified added a bunch of pouches here on the vest, and then some padding on some black, and then like some sort of like bullets here on this pouch, which we don't see any of that here on the vintage one. So I love how they did the vest for the Classified one. Even the back here, you have some of that black detailing there, which the vintage one has sort of straps coming down. I think that's to I'm not really sure what they're just sort of suspenders, I guess. But yeah, we don't get that detail here with the vintage one on the back. You have your blue gloves here for the vintage one, and it's out of focus, but yeah, you have blue gloves, and then you have Classified with black gloves with, you know, the fingers going through and showing the skin and whatnot. You have added padding here, armor padding on the forearms, which is nice. I mean, he is SWAT. Gotta give him some extra protection, which is nice. And then we get to the head sculpt, which I wasn't a big fan of the hat or how it sat on it. And even the vintage hat looks a bit different, you know, just like more chunky, I guess you could say. But even the vintage one, I like the expression. I mean, there's only so much you can do at this scale, but you know, he looks mean. It looks like he can beat you up. Classified does as well. You know, he looks kind of menacing, but I think he suffered what Firefly suffered, was that he looks a bit too cartoony. Now, the other release of Shockwave and the Night Force with the Ram, that head sculpt looks amazing. It looks phenomenal. So I don't know why the Classified team didn't do that with these on the first go around, because even Firefly, who we now have Wreckage, who is basically a repaint of Firefly, looks so much better in terms of the head sculpt compared to Firefly. But yeah, here's the same case scenario where another release of Shockwave just looks better than the original release. So yeah, I really do want Classified to make him in a retro card. Maybe you know, just update the colors, the pattern, and you know, just give us a little bit more detail like they did for that Night Force version with the head sculpt. And I think we'll have a solid updated Shockwave again with the backpack piece, and maybe with different legs, because I'm not a big fan of these. I'd say just use the same ones they used for the new Beachhead. I think those are some solid legs, but that's just my opinion on the matter, and I think that mostly does it for this comparison. Again, I'm happy with the Classified. He looks great, and I posed him. I had fun posing him and whatnot. But I can understand the complaints that people had. But yeah, I just hope we get a re-release of him with some nice updates overall. I still love the vintage one. I think it looks fantastic. The colors are just a bit brighter, you know, with the lighter blue. I always like, you know, some lighter colors. I always think that stands out to me. But those are my opinions on the Classified and the vintage one. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys prefer the vintage look or the Classified look? With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in a future video.